I've started. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindful LCA podcast. Today we're talking about cheating through the
Cheating.
attachment theory and what that means for all you cheaters out there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
How are you doing today, Norma?
We're not going to name names. We have to be very mindful today. Very mindful, very demure. I'm doing okay. I'm actually doing pretty well. Yeah. I had a slower morning. I'm leaving for Mexico tonight. So I was able to pack. It's really rare that I pack this early. I don't leave until tomorrow, but I actually am done packing. So yeah, I showered. I blow dried my hair. Look at it. It's coming out. It's growing. So I'm good. How are you?
Nice, nice. Physically, I'm tired.
Mm.
Um, just haven't been able to catch up on the sleeping since the girls started school, like waking up early, going to bed early, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also kind of sick. I don't know,
Oh
this
no.
fucking cold going around. Um, Emotionally getting tested to see how much
Mhm.
growth I have. It's
Yeah.
always like, oh, there's so much more to go. Things are pissing me off, so I gotta figure out what the hell is going on with me. Not anybody else, not anything else. What's going on over here, so that
Well, but
can
but
figure that out.
I you have I think you have good reasons to be feeling what you're feeling. Like it's not just the you thing is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I can't have no control over anybody else. So
I
what
know.
do I
I
do?
know.
What can I do myself? That's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's get into it, y'all. So, we're going to be talking about um, cheating through within the Latino community, but we are going to be giving it a little bit of an attachment lens. We talked about like I'm a therapist, so I when it comes to cheating and when I'm in session with clients that have experienced this, that is the approach that I use. I don't like my face. I feel like it looks too bright, so it's distracting me. If I turn it off, it doesn't really change it. Whatever. It's fine. Um yes, so we'll be looking a little bit of how um a lot of times when there is cheating we think about like maybe like the sex or the attraction or stuff like that happen with the other person, but it's rarely really about the actual act of cheating but more of what goes on behind that. So we'll do a little refresher of attachment theory, of like the attachment styles, things that happen specifically within the Latino community, who is affected when cheating happens, and what are some things that we can do to start healing from an affair, from cheating, de poner los cuernos, all of that. Um, so let's look at it. Okay, so attachment theory. Again, I am a therapist. So let's look at our four attachment styles. The first one is the secure attachment. We've talked about how supposedly 50% of the people of the population have this attachment style, but we're like, but is it really 50%? We don't
Right.
necessarily think that. It's probably lower than that. But
Like 1%.
like oh wow, that's like really low. I don't know, like 1%. I think
Well, I mean,
now
if
with
they're excited, we'll meet in the middle. We can meet in the middle and say 25
25.
maybe. I don't think I know uh, one out of 100 people. But maybe it's just the people that I'm around. Maybe,
Yeah,
I
I was
don't
gonna
know.
say maybe it's the people that we are around because I don't I don't know many securely attached people. Um anyway, so people with this attachment style are generally very trusting, they're open to intimacy, they are okay with being vulnerable. Um So they have this very well balanced between independence and dependence on or closeness. A lot of people say that dependence is a bad thing. I don't think so. We are social beings, and I think being dependent on one another is a normal thing. But just capitalism and Eurocentric views have told us that we should be individual uh, people, but that I don't believe that. So yes, so they are able to balance the independence with dependence and closeness very well. These are the people that are the least likely to cheat in a relationship. Um, yeah. So I guess you and Celia, as far as I'm concerned, there hasn't been any betrayal there. So y'all are pretty motherfucking secure. So yay. Yay for
Keep
that.
trying.
Must be nice. Anyway, anxious attachment. Ding 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 ding. That will be
Both of us.
yours truly. People with anxious attachment, we crave closeness. We want to feel close to our people, to our partners, and we have this little wound. It tends to be this fear of abandonment. So even though we crave it, there's always this thing in the back of our head telling us like, but they're gonna leave you though. They're gonna be with somebody else. Um, we may cheat because we feel neglected within the relationship. We need a lot of reassurance. We tend to attract avoidant people, which don't necessarily do a good job with reassuring us, with giving us the what we need. We do need to address our own wounds. Not everything has to do with our partner, so that is super super important. But yes, it is possible for us to cheat. I believe the fifth on that one. Um, avoidant attachment. I'm trying to do better. I have not cheated anymore in a while because I don't have a partner. Okay. Gosh, why am I doing this episode today? Why? Why did and I chose this. I chose this. I did this to myself.
Hmm.
Um avoiding attachment. Avoiding attachment is this style of attachment is people that they really love their independence. They really love feeling free. When they are in relationship, they may feel suffocated by the closeness. They don't necessarily know what to do. So um, they may cheat to kind of create distance within the relationship. Like, this feels too real. This feels like too threatening to my freedom. So I'm going to go find somebody else. And usually the types of relationships that they create tend to be more on like the physical side, more like avoiding vulnerability, because that's what makes them uncomfortable. um yes. And disorganized attachment style, we've talked about it. It's a little bit of both, of the anxious or the avoidant. They kind of go back and forth between the two. um they crave the closeness, but they fear it at the same time, and it's like, yes, but like, stay here, but don't leave me, and then but give me space, but don't get too close. So usually these are people that have been in a lot of trauma, that have experienced a lot of trauma. um, and these are like very chaotic relationships, and these are the ones that have the highest risk for infidelity. Okay, so those are a little bit of the attachment styles. And now we'll get a little bit into how it
Hmm.
um it affects the Latino community, specifically cheating within the Latino community.
Yep. Just a
Anything you want
reminder
to
that,
add to that?
yeah, just a reminder that we have gone in depth in other episodes. I know that we can go even more in depth. Maybe we'll do that in the future. But just look attachment styles and all that, and you'll be able to find them. I believe both in English and in Spanish, in which we dive more in depth into what that looks like and what it means and all that stuff in there.
Yes. So if you haven't watched it, go look for it. It's right there. Um okay. Now, cultural context is important. How cheating may look for the white community, for the black community, for the brown community might be different entirely. So we'll talk a little bit of how it shows up within the Latino community. So a couple of things that we need to take into account. Again, it's not exclusive to Latinos, but it is something that shows up differently based on our culture. Um, we've talked about this before, how machismo really influences how we move in the world. Are you thinking?
No, no. I'm just like, no, not really. I can't think of any
No, it doesn't
instances,
resonate.
especially with Latinos. Not at all.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard to it's hard
Find
to
examples.
envision that, but I promise it does happen, even if it seems like it doesn't. Um, so machismo it reinforces the idea of the male dominance, right? Of it is okay for men to have all of the partners that they want. It is okay for them to seek out and fulfill their instinctual needs for mating, for sex, sus instintos carnales, for them to go fulfill them. So it has been really normalized within the Latino community, that it is okay for them to go out of the relationship. Usually, it's not like that with women. If you're a woman, you are fucked. You are supposed to be this person that is just for your husband, not for anybody else. If you are a woman and you do cheat, then you get ostracized for it. Um, and one of the things that I've noticed from personal experience is that if the male part cheats, the relationship is likely to go on. If the woman cheats, the relationship is very likely to end.
Yep.
That is
One.
that is one thing. I don't have I wish I had like actual statistical information to back that up, but just from ¿cómo se dice?
Anecdotal.
Anecdotal. Yes. No, there's another one. What is the freaking word I'm looking for?
I'm pretty sure it's that one.
No.
No, it's not your
It
personal
it, ends,
experience.
it,
It's
it starts with
anecdotal.
an I.
I anecdotal.
Empirical?
I don't know.
Whatever. Just from my own experience, that's how it is. If the man cheats, no problem, we can go on. That's what men do. That's how it is. That's how he is. He needs to have his needs met. Um, but if it's a woman, it's like, "Ah, bien puta,
Yeah.
y échale las piedras
Yeah. That happened with
del
a friend
infierno."
of a friend of a friend of a friend of a
Of a friend of a
friend.
friend of a friend. Hmm.
Where he was a cheater. A lot of different partners. It was like known that he had hella different partners, and then that person's wife got over it, did it to him, and the whole family outcasted her. But for him it was like, just keep it going. There was nothing. It's like, how dare you, how could she do this and that. And I'm just like, it was one fucking time, and look how everything flipped, where now the whole family just outcasted her and she's the bad one and paint the story. And that's a clear example of how, what you were saying. It's a
Yes. Yes.
perfectly acceptable for that.
Yes. Um, so like the on the men's side is the machismo, on the women's side is the marianismo, right? Of like this idea of, if you're a wife, you're supposed to be pure and you're supposed to be sacrificial, and you're supposed to forgive and all of that. Um,
La verga.
that that's hard because then you are staying in a marriage like that. Obviously there is betrayal. Looking from an attachment lens, when we create attachment, we create like bonds, and if there is betrayal, then that is ripped, right? Like it's broken, and there's no if there is no repair, then when their relationship starts to suffer. And then if he cheats again, and then he cheats again, and then he cheats again, there you get to a point where there is no relationship, there is so much betrayal, but because you are a married woman who is supposed to stay around even if your partner does that, then there is no connection there. There are people that are still together, but they don't necessarily have like a romantic relationship. That is very um very common.
Common. Hmm.
Which takes me to the other point, which is familismo. Within our Latino culture, being like family is something that is central. It's a value that we hold very close. So in an attempt to keep the relationship going for por los hijos, right? Like a lot of times for the kids, we stay in that relationship to keep our family together. And without realizing how much that affects also the family system. Within my work, excuse me, a lot of the people that have come in where the men has cheated, I have asked the people like, what keeps you in the relationship, and a lot of the answers are because of my kids, and that
Yeah, that's very
sucks.
toxic. It's a very
Hmm.
toxic thing to do that stuff because I mean I have a first-hand experience of that. Like it wasn't with my parents. It wasn't because of cheating. It wasn't because of that. It was just a lot of other shit that happened. But it literally made our life difficult for everyone, like for them and for us.
Yes.
Because I think um, if you get a divorce and you have emotional intelligence, you have some fucking common sense, you're aware of your impact in parenting, and you're a conscious parent, there's way to maneuver those things where you can somehow still not have the kids super impacted, and there's way for you to end it where you can still have a be cordial with each other, or some sort of agreement where you can make it work for the kids, where it ends up like not totally just like fuck your baby daddy, fuck your baby mama, whatever the fuck it is, fuck your dad, fuck your mom, those things, you know. So you can find a middle ground, and there's ways to communicate with honesty, being open with the kids and all that stuff, obviously depending on their age, but it shouldn't be like a black or white thing, because a lot of the times it gets damaged and the kids know. That's another thing. Like, who the fuck is gonna be so good at hiding your emotional pain while you're
Yeah.
still like not on top of like you being a mother and everything that that entails, and having to take care of the house, having to take care of yourself, having friendships, all that stuff, and everything, all the stressors of everyday life as a family, as a mother. Like, if a bad relationship with your partner is there and that's bothering you, that just fucks everything else up. It's not like, at least for me, I can't choose when I'm angry not to be fucking angry at everything and everyone. You get me? Like, it's very hard for me to, when I'm frustrated, to be able to be like, okay, I'm mad, but let me fucking turn it off for a split second while I address this and turn it back on, what do this shit and turn it back on like this, you know? So like your patience just fucking runs low and everything. So that affects the kids on the everyday basis, even though you don't think it's affecting them because you think you're hiding it. Like, every fucking kid knows already when shit's happening and when things are going down and when things are not okay, even if people pretend to hide it, you know. Because it's so funny. A friend of a friend of a friend, when the mom gets mad at the dad, the mom stops cooking. So if the dad is ever cooking or serving himself food, is like, oh shit, something's happening, you know.
Something's
uh
up. Something's up.
so like, and the kids know that, you know, so like you can't really hide it. So
Yeah.
it's really it, yeah, maybe that's a whole episode that we can touch on that, you know, on how the toxicity of like family over everything, no matter what. Like, just having a very thing like that, it doesn't, I don't think it's healthy. There still has to be, you know, how you're treated, how you treat other people, and the boundaries of things. So not just because you're a family member, you can just behave fucking willy-nilly and do all this kinds of shit, and like you're supposed to be okay with it because it's your family member, your sibling, your mom, your dad, your cousin, your uncle, whatever, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's the effect on it in, you know, when, I guess, deviating a little bit, not from the topic, but just how it shows up with when we say like, oh, my parents did X, Y, and Z, and I turned out fine. Um, you might be okay, but like the pain is there. Like, I just this week I had an attachment history, because when I have a couple, I do an individual attachment history to learn their attachment style, like what it was that they like learned, right, what their body learned about connection, distress, comfort. And I remember asking this client, like, tell me a little bit of like what was life like growing up, like with your parents. And immediately, like as soon as I asked the question, it's just like waterworks. Waterworks of like, there was a lot of cheating. And when my mom would find out and she would ask my dad, he would beat her. And just like the pain from this person, from remembering all of these memories. And we're talking, this person's in their 40s. So like for over 30 plus years they have been living with all of that until this day. It still affects them. So cheating has a lot of like long term implications, especially if we don't address them with therapy, with community, with spirituality, whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
um all right. The other thing that is instilled within us, a lot of us grew up religious. I want to say, I think like most, a lot of Latinos come from like a Catholic Christian background. But even if it's not, like whether it's Christian, Catholic, Jehovah's Witnesses, most religion value this, or I don't know if they've intention. Yes, it is intentional, but they value a lot of like secrecy, shame. Like that is some of the tools that they use in order to control people. So this part of like la ropa sucia se lava en casa, right? Like you are not to talk about it. You are supposed to just like deal with it by yourself, figure it out. Don't talk about it. Especially if it's something that is taboo, such as cheating. If it's a guy, it's like, okay, well, let's pray for him so he stops cheating, rather than telling them to leave those relationships. um so it's something that it's very conflicting, because there's a part of it that demonizes cheating, of like it is wrong, right? Because and even within the Bible is like, you shouldn't cheat on your partner. But even when it does happen, because especially if you're married by the religion, like you can't leave that marriage, so you're gonna have to suck it the fuck up and continue to make that marriage work. So it is very like, okay, so is it wrong, is it not, like what am I supposed to tolerate and what am I supposed to not tolerate? um yeah, anything you want to add to that?
If you have any sense of critical thinking, go ahead and put it to use when if you're developing, and if you have any doubts, put that shit to use in there and ask yourself, um, especially as a woman, um,
Be nice,
who
Steve.
and how and why it got written by who and all that shit, and ask yourself, because for a long time, just when it comes to religion, there was like two different things going on in my head, like who I was raised and how I was raised, and this new thinking, and having critical thinking and questioning shit. And it was like, you're going to hell, motherfucker, because you're questioning things. And like, but I'm like, hey, this shit doesn't make any sense. And the shame of that thought. And eventually, I just couldn't stop that shit anymore. So I would say, uh, just in general, is pretty foolish to blindly follow anything, like just in anything. It's
Yeah.
just like a common thing that you would think is like, it's just pretty dumb not to do that. So yeah, just be aware of that. And if you're having those thoughts, I don't think I've ever gone in depth into like my journey with that, so maybe we can do one on that. um
Hmm.
but yeah, follow those things, and and not foolishly just follow something blindly for whatever reason, you know,
Yeah.
even though it's the complete opposite of what they teach you and everything. But yeah, it's just it's just the thing again of forever, no matter what, it's just fucking bad. Like when it's family, when it's religion, when it's anything else, like no matter what the fuck happens, just stick to it and do it. No matter what, this is the fucking thing. And it's like, no, that shit doesn't work. Everything has to have some kind of balance, some kind of boundary, some kind of thing to be like, hey, this
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense, you know? You
Yeah.
can't just blindly, like I said, believe or follow anything
Follow
specifically.
anything. Yeah. I am agree. I am agree with you.
Hmm.
Um okay. And specifically talking about people that live in the United States, the acculturation piece. I think the from people that we have both lived experiences of being have lived in our home country and being here, the assimilation of the two cultures can be a complex situation, and just how that can also play a part in the cheating, right? Of like, we do have more of an individualistic view if you are more assimilated to the culture here. So it's like, I'm gonna do me. Like a lot of people is like, I'm gonna do me. Like I don't care. So not caring for the partner, because in general, like the U.S. Has more of that individualistic perspective rather than like, how would this affect my partner if I were to um, do that. Um, yes, so attachment wounds, cultural norms, and we have a perfect recipe for cheating. Um, but let's actually look at, let's combine both the attachment with the culture, and then ask or answer the question as to like, but why am I cheating though? Like, why am I doing it? So we'll look at it through attachment styles. You're thinking, your wheels are turning already. What's going
Mm.
on?
But when you ask that question, I just think again of like my experience and like why am I cheating? And my friends of friends of friends, the culture that I grew up in, it was always that. It was always like the men got together. I remember making this observation clearly at a very young age and being like, this is, I'll get to it. But I'm like, this is not for me. I'm gonna go chill with the women in the kitchen, and there's much more interesting and more diverse conversations. But the entire conversations from a early age is like, oh, I fucked this girl, and like, oh, look, I got with this girl, and this and that, all while being married, while being in relationships, and be like, oh, I got with this one, this and that, look at this, da 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 da, this and that. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? You know, because I come from a background where, like I said in the past, like my dad was never like that, and we separated ourselves at some point from pretty much nearly everybody when we went to the Bay Area. So it was a different culture that I grew up in. So then going back to when it was big family gatherings and friends and shit like that, it was always like normal. And I feel like that's the part of the cultural piece of like, just makes it okay. Like it just makes it okay, and it's normal for you to do, because that's what you hear. That's why you
Mhm.
hear older family members, older friends just talk about it and go through that, you know? To the point that I had a conversation literally with a friend of a friend of a friend, and I was like, have you noticed? I was like, have you noticed that this fucking people are not actually happy? Like, have you paid attention and looked at their suffering? Like, what do you think? I fuck all these women and do all this thing, but then you drink like you're a fucking alcoholic 24/7. You're fucking drinking at any chance you get. Like, you're fucking, and then you hear stories of like somehow once in a while this person opened up, and this is their fear and their pain, and this is their worries and their pain, and this is and that like not a lot of people know. So then I'm like, well, motherfucker, like pay attention to who's actually happy. And if they're not happy, then you ask yourself, like, okay, maybe I shouldn't just blindly be fucking following this goddamn thought
Mhm.
process or this ideals about that, you know. But yes, I can attest to like that part of that of like just the lack again of like thinking for yourself and analyzing and taking a break and being like, this doesn't make any sense, you know. This
Mhm.
is not okay. This doesn't actually make me feel good. Like, what the fuck am I doing, you know? At
Yeah.
least from the culture wise.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Um yeah, gosh, it's so wild. It's so wild. Like, yeah, I also know a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend um who, like, the one of the people in the relationship is like actively having an affair with somebody else. And yeah, their relationship is really really bad. um but the person that is getting cheated on is still there. They, when they are around, they almost have like fights out in the open. Like if it's a party, like they, like you can feel the tension within their dynamic. They're sometimes they're like isolated on a table, and like you see the heated conversations where like, where we are here, we are like this couple, but you see them, like one of the people like going like this, and the other one kind of like, oh my god, here we go again. Um but they show up to places like, here is my partner, here is my partner, and it's just, people openly talk about how they are in this place where this person is actively in an extramarital relationship with somebody. um and how much this person drinks, how much this person owes, like they are, like in debt with a lot of people because they're catering to this other person. And just like, again, like the whole dynamic of it all is, like, we all know, everybody knows that is happening, but it's so normalized that whenever I encounter them, be like, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are doing great within your relationship.
Yeah.
um and it's crazy, but that's literally how it
So
is.
so because of my upbringing and the pain that I went through to my parents' relationship, like this is one of the triggering things like that, like literally piss me off, that I can understand, of like, why are we pretending and not addressing shit in our fucking relationships? Like, it makes my fucking blood boil to be like, why? I don't understand. I just hear about all this fucking things happening and I'm like, but why are you pretending? Like, why? What? I want to like be and smack you across the face. What's the point of pretending? You're lying to yourself. It's gonna bite you in the ass. It doesn't work. It doesn't fucking, you can't just close your eyes to it and forget it and pretend the shit. It's just, and like I said, every time I get upset, I'm like, okay, I gotta figure out and go into my little Buddhist corner and meditate and figure out and think and be like, well, what is it? You know, like, what's triggering you so much about this situation and all that? But it's just, it's so bizarre because, again, the perspective that I have being on the other side of shit, like, it's just like crazy how, like, like we always done the analogy of like the other side of the mountain, right? Like, you go
Mhm.
through the pain of climbing the mountain, going through the shit, and it's hell and it's everything, but it's so nice on the other side. And like, now to just fucking look back and like you see all the shit and mud and garbage and shit that you used to be at and used to live at, and then just like, hey, stupid, hello, like, how the fuck are you not like see all the things that are happening? Like, how do you not? It's just so, it's very frustrating. And again, it reminds me of so much shit that I have to work on myself. But this is why I'm so passionate about everything. This conversation come up, and that why I chose the marriage conversation in the past too, you know. um because it it could be a lot better than it is for people. And I hate, at the end of the day, my main issue is like, It's unbearable still for me to see pain in other people that they refuse to see themselves, and like I'm looking at it, like I see the pain, I see the suffering, and not knowing that I can't do shit, knowing that it's not my job to do anything, and like it's like fuck, okay, all right, how do I cope with this? Like how do I deal with this thing of wanting to help, but I know I'm not getting asked if I say anything. Uh, which brings me to another example, and in the same conversation, friend of a friend of a friend reaches out and it's like, oh, thinking about breaking up with my person, this and that, and I'm like, I knew, like I knew this person was not the best for you. Like I knew this person wasn't the best, and like I knew it was just a matter of time before you figure it out, and you really, because from this instance, from the very beginning of your relationship, this happened, and I knew that it wasn't gonna like be successful, but to prove to you that I no longer get in in any other but shit. Like I didn't tell you anything, because if I tell you something back then, or if I tell you something without you asking me, you would have go told me to go fuck myself, and there was none of my business, and there was nothing like that, and whatever. So I'm happy that you're finally choosing to see that the pain has gotten big enough for you. I'm here for you to help you, but I want to let you know that I noticed this 2 3 years ago when this happened, that this is where it was heading to, and I started picking up on the patterns in your relationship, um
Mhm.
yeah. It especially talking about the machismo stuff, it like it makes me think a lot about my girls and like my role, like as a father and as parents, because with this person that I'm telling you, it was they started dating, and then the person caught the other person still having dating accounts on social media, dating stuff, like very right away, right? And then I'm like, oh, you ignore, like you were upset, didn't address it with that person. I found out that you were upset because of another person, and then I'm
Because of
like,
another
okay,
person.
and then I'm like, okay, and then like afterwards it's like, oh, you don't value yourself enough. You don't love yourself enough. You have such a low standard of love for the love that you want, or you're so desperate to get it, that your standards are so low that you're willing to overlook that. And I just hope that I love my fucking daughters enough and they love themselves enough to, when somebody does some shit like that, they'll be like, nah. Like I said, it's early on in the relationship. Both of you want to fuck around by all means. But if you're entering a serious relationship and you see the signs from the beginning, like what can you expect? On top of the fact that, like you said, it's one thing now, then you choose to not talk about it, and it's still there, and it still adds up, and it still adds up, and eventually, it's just the relationship is breaking apart slowly because of all the things that are not addressed. So I'm just like, love them more. Love them more, motherfucker. Be more patient. Be more loving. Be more kind, so that no stupid ass just comes over here and tries to do something for them, and they're just like okay with it. Like
Yeah.
I, I, yeah. I just keep on. It's scary and the thing, and how much I take so much of the. I guess it's good and bad of the responsibility and the burden to be like, oh, a lot of the outcome in their lives is coming from me. So trying not to be that. On a side
Yeah.
note, Mia was like, oh, because every time we go to school, she asks me something and I give her like a long ass answer. And then before we left to school, she asked me something and I started going in detail. And she's like, oh, I know it's time to go because you're giving me a long answer. Kind of like it's been a pattern when she asks me something in the car and we talk and I just talk and talk and talk. So she brought it to my awareness that I'm like, oh, okay, you're giving me another long answer. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to give you detail, homegirl. I'm trying to give you fucking knowledge here.
I was just like, can you like not, Dad? I just asked
I
yes
was,
or no.
yeah. But yeah,
That's
long
funny.
rant about the same thing.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Taking it back to types of anxious attachment and how cultural aspects might influence the cheating part. So, anxious attachment. If we fear that our partner is going to leave us, like we have this fear of abandonment. So, and I don't know about you, but this was very common for me. Um, within Latino culture, affection is sometimes like withheld when we did something wrong. Like that is a way to punish us. Like if you did something wrong, like vete a tu cuarto, like don't talk to me, you get the silent treatment. Um, so if there is this connection within my partner and myself, I'm not feeling validated, I'm not feeling seen. So emotional abandonment is already there. So it is likely that I'm going to go out of the relationship to seek that validation, to seek that closeness with somebody else if I am not able to get that from my partner. And again, as an anxious attached person, we are going to attract avoidantly attached humans. So then it's very likely that this human can give me the closeness that I'm looking for anyway. Um, so when there is that disconnection, anxiously attached humans might go out of the relationship to seek that connection.
Hmm. That makes sense.
Yes. Um okay. I did link it to the yes, how affection is withheld within the Latino community.
Hmm.
Um okay. Um with avoidant attachment, it's the opposite. Avoidant, it's very likely, it's common, it's not 100%, but it's more common to see men that are avoidant than women that are avoidant, because culturally speaking, for men, vulnerability is not a thing, right? Like los hombres no lloran. You got to be a man, you got to toughen up, like don't cry. um, all of those things are taught within our culture with two men. So if you are a person or a guy that taps into his emotions, his vulnerability, then you're going to be labeled as weak or a pussy or a sissy, or a joto, like all of those things. So we then, because of that, avoidant attachment styles within men tend to thrive. They're that's where like that's their jam. So a partner might cheat because um, he is looking for maybe that freedom, because um, the commitment part, I do crave that closeness too, but I don't know how to ask for it. So a lot of men get that closeness, they have attached that closeness with like sexuality too. So that is one way that men receive that like love, because they're not supposed to be affectionate. It's the only environment where like such physical touch is normalized. So that is a lot of what where I can get that, like that closeness that I'm craving. I can just get it through sex. um I'm seeing a couple right now where um Latino man, where uh, this is the reason why they're coming in is because he cheated. He had an affair. This is, I'm not saying that him cheating is okay. That is his responsibility. I can't take that away. But I can understand what led him there. Um, I'm trying to not give too many details. The night that happened, where he went out of the relationship, his mom had passed away, and the mom was they were having her funeral in his country of origin. He couldn't be there. His partner was able to go. He's the only one that stayed behind. And right before he went out of the relationship, the wife called him while his mom is being eh, at the services, her funeral services. The wife tells him that she wants a divorce. Can you imagine the amount of pain this person's going through? My mom is in another country. I don't have access to her. I can't say my goodbyes, so I'm hurting already. My whole family is over there. I'm here by myself. And on top of that, my wife is telling me that she wants a divorce. The only way that he found, and as he was telling me in session, he's like breaking down. He's like, can you imagine? I was going through all of that. I didn't know what else to do. So then he went out, found somebody else, had sex with somebody else.
Hmm. Just
Uh,
coping, right?
yeah, it's a way of coping.
Yeah.
It is a way of coping. Um, Now, coping within those couple minutes, it's going to have a very long-term effects on the relationship, and that is why they're, thank God, they're in therapy. Um, but just to kind of give you like this perspective of like why um, why men that are avoidant may cheat, and it may have nothing to do with the other person, right? The other person, we do tend to internalize it as like, what's wrong with me, what didn't I give you, right? Like we've talked about like my own divorce, and like how my ex-partner had an affair with somebody else. And that is one of the questions that I asked him, like, why did you, like, what was I not doing, dude? Like what que me faltó, right? Like what was I missing? And he said nothing. It had nothing to do with you, right? So like his own attachment wounds were showing up, were like something, I think, for my ex-husband specifically, like him, the thrill of like getting to know somebody else, like, is the only thing that he knew as far as like closeness, because everything in his life is very monotone, very boring, like there's not a lot of excitement. So like that was where he would find like that excitement.
Mm.
But yes, it is a lot because they don't know how to create that closeness, and the only thing they have is like the sexual aspect of relationships.
Mm. Nice. I never kind of thought about it like that. Because when I think about it as a way to soothe, as a way to cope, as a way to make you feel better, then it just goes to you're chasing that the feeling, right? Like the feeling of sex, the feeling of relief, the feeling of pleasure that
Yes.
you can't find anywhere else, or you can't seem to get it with your partner. And again, instead of doing the hard work or putting in the work, it's no different than drinking, it's no different than smoking,
Hmm.
overeating, whatever the hell it might be. So thinking about it that way, like, it makes a lot of sense, you know. And it's almost like you just help me like extend my compassion bubble a little bit, make it a little bit bigger, make it a
Yeah.
little bit that, you know, because there's usually a lot of judgment. There's usually a lot of
Mhm.
that, but I guess, like I'm telling you now that you made me think about it, that would be like, oh, there's something so painful or something missing, or your perception of the relationship or something off in your emotions and the way you think or whatever, that you had to do this action to make yourself feel better or to find some kind of solution to what you couldn't do.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like I said, that's no different than what I used to, or I still struggle with like the food and stuff, but I used to do it in other different ways. And all of us, you know, like all this coping thing that we do and the pain that we create on
Mhm.
ourselves and other people when we're unable to actually deal with our shit and be brave enough to actually address it directly, you know. So it
Yes.
makes me no different. Nice, nice. Thank you. I
You're
fuck with it.
welcome.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
schedule a
And
podcast with you every day.
I wish that at the time. Um, One of the things, I think it might have been Gabor Mate. Um, the opposite of addiction is connection.
Mhm.
So if we are lacking connection within our life, is that is very likely where addiction will come in, whether it's with sex, with food, with the alcohol, substances, gambling, shopping. If we are feeling disconnected, it's very likely that we are going to find something that will give us that fix.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. Okay. Disorganized attachment. we've talked about how this is a person that had a very chaotic life. So it could come from like neglect, violence, inconsistent caregiving, all things that show up within the Latino community. And the one of the reasons that they might cheat is because they are trying to recreate that chaos of the trauma. That's what they're used to, being in chaotic situations.
Hmm.
So they get bored when there is stability. So they're like, I need chaos in my life. Let me go cheat. Or as a way to be like, yo, my needs are not being met. So this is how I'm gonna let you know that my needs are not being met. So I'm gonna cheat on you. So that is a lot of the reasons why people with disorganized attachment style will go cheat.
Hmm. You
People with
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna move on to secure.
I was gonna say, you might be listening to this, or listening to be like, how the fuck can someone literally like crave or do chaos? When I was going through anxiety and depression, when I started getting better, I was like, this feels so fucking weird. Like this feels so weird. What the fuck is this? And I almost had the ability to put myself either depressed or anxious again. Like it's
Yeah.
almost like I went back to it because it like the my brain was like, what the fuck is this? Like what do I do now? And I felt like empty, not in the depression empty, but it felt weird to be at peace, and it felt empty being at peace. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, this is weird. And then I literally would fucking, like I said, almost like purposely bring myself back to either anxiety or depression to get to that, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the more, and maybe you already know this or thought about it, but I think the more that we have conversations about attachments, I think I'm more disorganized the more that I pay attention to it.
Mm, okay.
Like I've always identified myself as like anxious, but like I could be fucking avoidant. Like I could be very avoidant, you know? So I was like,
Yes, you can when you don't
yeah,
answer my messages.
yeah. So then
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I was paying attention to last time, to be like, oh, maybe I am more disorganized than that because I can literally turn off and avoid shit as much as I can be in your face about anything that bothers me. Hmm, it's interesting.
Mm,
I never thought about that. Which goes back to the identity thing. Don't identify. Don't blindly believe anything, even
anything.
yourself.
Yeah. Challenge
Mhm.
everything. Um. Okay. Well, securely attached people, they don't tend to cheat because they are securely attached. But if they do, it usually has to do with relationship issues when maybe there has been like long term disconnection or dissatisfaction within the relationship, not necessarily coming from a place of wounds, but more of like the disconnection that they're feeling with their significant other. But they are the ones that cheat the least, so must be nice. And reminding y'all that with all of this, that cheating doesn't necessarily have to do with like the other person being more attractive, being better, or like um it usually comes from a wounded place of unmet emotional needs, right?
Mhm.
Like maybe I need validation, maybe I need safety, comfort, and an escape, the dopamine hit. So if partner cheats on you, and you immediately go into like, what did I do? You I'm not saying you don't have a role, right? Because as I mentioned too, like within my relationship, a lot of the times, like I made my ex-husband feel like he wasn't enough. So I'm like, I can understand why he would go out of the relationship. Um, so do think about like, how did I show up in the relationship that maybe took this person to go to this route? But the choice of the person going out and cheating has to do with that person. Like they are in charge of that decision,
Mhm.
not you. So reminding y'all
It, it's
of
it's
that.
it's like any other. I would think about it now. It's like any other action, right? Anybody causes you pain, anybody yells at you, anybody hits you, anybody does anything like that. Like it's has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Because I
Mhm.
I still fuck up a lot well, a lot less than I used to. I gotta give myself props and not be so negative with my shit. Um, I'm a lot less angry towards the girls, but I still lose my shit every
Yeah.
once in a while. And I tell them again, and my way of apologizing is always telling them, I'm sorry I did that. It has nothing to do with you and everything to do with me. I lost my temper. I needed to learn, and I still need to continue to work on not losing my temper. But don't think that it's anything that you did. It has everything to do with me, and I lost my shit, my temper, so I apologize for that. There's nothing you need to blame yourself for, or do that. It wasn't anything you did. It's all on me for me losing my shit. So
Yes. Yes.
taking that and remembering that for cheating as well, like you're saying, it's not necessarily nothing one person does. It's the other one, what they got
Yeah.
going on in their heads, and what all this stuff, that leads
Yes.
the person to that.
Yes. Absolutely. Um, Okie dokie. Moving on. The impact of infidelity, cheating, um, in the family system. A friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, um, had an affair. Um, and this person said it has nothing to do with, told their offspring, it has nothing to do with you. This is between your mom and I. Okay. So, for all of you people out there that have cheated or been cheated on and say, like, it doesn't affect your children, think twice. Think about it again. Because it ripples not only in the family but through generations, right? Like I come from a lineage of, I think every woman within my family has been cheated on, myself included. So it doesn't only damage the relationship, the romantic relationship, but it also damages the family system, the relationship between parents and kids, the trust, the connection, the whole family dynamic gets fucked up. Children who witness betrayal, they internalize the mistrust, right? Of like, I'm not supposed to trust a guy, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. Um, their parent cheated on the mom, had a whole ass child with the other person. Um, so now the way this person shows up within their romantic relationship, they're very anxious, and the partner hasn't necessarily done anything to like create this mistrust. It's something that's already internalized. So they are showing very controlling behaviors of like, where are you, why aren't you texting me back, like wanting to be on the phone with them all the time. Like, it's very very obvious that this person is, that doesn't have trust in their partners, but that comes from their own internalized, lived experience of like their own dad had an affair with somebody else, and is, like, to the point where they had a kid. So it is rippling through that. When parents stay without healing their relationship, the mistrust, the patterns that are there, um, the dynamic being a friend of a friend of a friend, seeing the the couple just like not connect with each other, but just being at each other's throats all the time. It's just, it's exhausting. It is exhausting. It is triggering, I've been told. So it definitely affects everybody else.
Yeah,
And
I used to. Sorry, I cut you off. I
that's
had
fine.
this conversation with somebody a long time ago because that person got cheated on, and I'm like, where the fuck is your anger? I was so upset for this person. And I'm like, where the fuck is your anger? Like, what the fuck? How can you do this? How could you just let this happen? Like, this is not okay. You shouldn't this and that and the thing and whatever. And then I had that conversation afterwards, and I had it a lot. I have it a lot of times. And it's been a while since I had it, but it was like, oh no, but the kids have nothing to do with it. Like that he didn't cheat on the kids, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's so simple. If the mom is upset the day that she, or the person, that doesn't have to be one sided. If the person is upset and you have kids, if it's upset one day, and one day, that day that she found out, only, let's say she's only like that, she or he, they're only upset for one day, and that day they lose their shit against their kids, their patience, because of everything that's going on, and they yell at them, and has a and builds a, like, they just go above and beyond for one time, and it has a lasting fucking impression on the kid. The motherfucking cheating had a direct impact on the kid. Like, if even if it was just once, even if it happens one time, it's so impossible, because, like, the person that, like, how can you say is not impacting the kids? Like, the person that got cheated on would have to have amazing fucking, would be have to be enlightened and shit to not have an emotional reaction, and then not let it, or have it and not let it linger, and not have the ability of what I said that I can do, where I just turn it off and be kind and patient, and turn it back on. It's fucking impossible. And if it leads to separation, if it leads to pain, if it leads to anything, then the motherfucking cheater has literally impacted the fact that there's no longer a relationship, and now it's a broken home. Like, you directly, because of that, you did that, and your kids are affected by it in that way
Yeah.
forever. So it's
Yeah.
like, it doesn't make any sense. It's a,
Yes. It does
it does.
impact.
Even when you said it, I was like, well, could it be the opposite? Like, and the kids do some shit and, like, tell the mom and the dad, well, hey, motherfucker, this has nothing to do with you. It has to do with just me and mom. It has nothing to do with you. It's just me and dad. You'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're a family. Like, you can just choose to separate the fucking thing. It makes no, that
It
makes no
makes no
sense. That's
sense.
that's
Yeah, it
very
does.
silly.
But
And
that
that's
is
what we've talked about, that with a few of the guys that are, like, in the same mindset as me, because there's always an opportunity, and there's always temptation if you want to take it. Like, the opportunity and the shit is there.
yeah.
But we've often talked about, because we find out about friends that are doing shit on the side, and we're like, that's so crazy that you're willing to throw the family away. That's what we think about. Like, you're
Mm,
willing to throw the family away. It's not just a relationship, the family, the whole stability, your peace of mind, the, if you have a house, then the house. If you have, like, splitting material things, and then the whole family breaking apart and putting everything at risk for that fucking time. So it's like, the joke is like, go rub one out, and you be fucking thinking clearly. Like, you'll be thinking clearly after that. Like, just get that shit out of your system already,
suppose
and
not
then you'll
clarity.
yeah, then you'll have clarity not to fucking do any stupid shit. Because it's just I just think it's not even. I'm never even remotely you come even close, because I think of this shit as, like, it's not worth it. Like, I just think of my
Mhm.
daughters, and I think of my wife, and I think of the family, and be like, the pain and the trouble and the problems that that's gonna bring. Like,
So much.
just address whatever. It's so much easier to address whatever the fuck is going on between us, than to fucking go through all that trouble to then have to address it, or get it even worse, or fucking do that. It's just, to
Yeah.
me, it's not even, like, even remotely worth any any of that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay. So it does affect the family. Don't do it. Don't do it. Or if you do, just don't tell your kids that it has nothing to do with them because it does.
Hmm.
Um anyway, so what can healing look like for people that have cheated? Explore your attachment styles, like look at your fucking wounds. Why start questioning like why do I act the way I act? Where does this come from? What am I needing? If you're not ready for therapy, then start journaling. Do some freaking self help books. Um, If you notice that you have a hard time talking about your needs, please start seeking out some type of help. Como dice en español, habla, dis- eh, díselo a quien más confianza le tengas, or something like that. Like, find somebody that you trust so you can start talking about your patterns. If you have cheated, please take accountability. Please own up to your shit. Um, a lot of the people that have cheated within my life, what they say is like, okay, that happened. Can we just move on? No, we
Órale.
can't just move on. You have to address the wound. You have um, to take the accountability, right? It's like, for from an attachment emotionally focused therapy lens, the three components for repair to happen is, how did this experience impact my partner? How did it impact me? Um, Understanding their how the impact that it had on me and my partner, the the accountability of my actions, taking responsibility, accountability, and the third one, what do we need? What do I need? What do you need as a partner to know that this won't happen again? Those components need to be part of the healing process. It's not just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna FaceTime you every day. Like, why don't you trust me now? And it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. Um, for couples that are dealing with betrayal, um you can't just address the action itself. A lot of couples get lost in the action that took place, whether it was like a phone call, messages, actual sexual interaction with somebody else. They keep they want to heal by, like, I want to know all of the details of it, right? Like, they focus a lot on the behavior that happened. That is not the way to go. Like, what you need to look at is actually, like, what is my emotional need? What is the emotional need that wasn't met when this happened, that was broken? And how do they, moving forward, do I ask for that? So when I get triggered, where I want to know, where are you at? Why aren't you answering my phone calls? We need to go deeper into, like, okay, what is the need, emotional need, that is not being met? And how can I let my partner know that? And what is it that I need from them so that it can be met? Because you can call them, you can be on Facebook, you can have like their live location, and I guarantee you're still not going to build that trust back, because the actual wound, which is the emotional need, hasn't been attended to.
Hmm. Yeah, it's and a much broader, and it applies to this, but it applies to everything that we've ever fucking talked about in the podcast. You can choose to ignore it. You can choose not to talk about it. You can choose all that shit, and then eventually, in a day, in 3 weeks, in a month, in a few years, in a few things. Oh, a friend of a friend of a friend was telling me that, because goes with this, that there was, because that person works at around a hospital. So that, oh yeah, there was like a 65-year-old that tried to like commit suicide and shit, and like they were like, oh yes, because she said that her mom, when she was a kid, and this and that, did this and abandoned and hurt and the thing, and they were just having a conversation, and I'm like, yep, this person waited. She said when she was a kid, let's say 10, 12, at least 50 years, 52 years to address like the childhood trauma. Like, can you imagine a lifetime of having to carry all that shit? Like, that is what you're doing when you don't address your shit.
Mm-hmm.
That is what you're doing. Eventually, it's gonna hit, and it's gonna
Yeah.
hit harder, right? And
Yes.
it's we're so dumb in a way, and I heard it somewhere where the breaking point comes, and it changes you or it kills you. Like, that's sadly the reality of it, of waiting until the breaking point happens. Like, a lot of people have their breaking point, and they choose to end it all, or they choose to somehow get help, and their life changes after that. Um but generally, It's not healthy to wait until your breaking point. So whatever you're refusing to address, it needs to be addressed. And no matter how much scared you are, I tell my daughters and I tell myself and Celia all the time, yeah, it's scary because we've never done it before. Once we
Mhm.
start doing it, you're gonna have some experience, and it's gonna be not so scary because you already did it. The hard thing is doing it once. The hard thing is if you never asked for help and you've never been vulnerable, you never had anybody in your life. The hard point is doing it one time. But just like again, I identify ourselves. We even subconsciously are like, no one's gonna show up, no one's gonna be there for me, no one's gonna help me, and you built and you told yourself so much shit in your head that you actually believe that, and you
Mhm.
walk through life believing that shit because that's what you told yourself, and that's what you chosen to identify yourself with. So take a step back if you can and look at, I'm suffering because of this, and ask for help and do that. Otherwise, sadly, the breaking point is going to come and hopefully you make the right decision, because
Yeah.
that's literally when you have no choice. The pain is big and it's getting big and worse and worse and bigger and bigger and worse and worse, and you keep not doing anything about it until your pain is right here in your motherfucking face and you can't function without it anymore, you know? So
Yeah.
address it. I know, I know the fucking world is so fucking crazy and ass backwards, but find people. People are available, even if you have to pay, even if you have to contract the stranger and go to therapy and do all that, and that's the only person you got. That is still somebody, somebody that's trained to listen, to care, that has years of experience or training to be able to listen to you and show up for you. You know,
Yeah.
and be answered, because otherwise he thinks the daughters are doing something. Go ahead. Let me mute myself.
um, while he answers that phone call, um, stuff that we can do within the community, normalize the conversations about emotional needs and attachment. Just like that is the whole reason why we have this podcast to begin with. This is our little granito de arena, like a little um contribution to the conversation, right? Of um openly talking about cheating, like me talking about my story, and talking about like my divorce ending because of an affair. And I remember like when it happened, like my ex-husband was like, why do you have to tell the whole world about it? Like, why can it be like in house, like keep it under wraps? And I was like, I don't, why do you want to keep it under wraps? Like, I understand that maybe you're carrying shame around it, but like these are conversations that need to happen. So if you're a guy, if you're a girl, challenge machismo, challenge marianismo. Just uh, talk about it within your family. Like, why is it okay for a man to do it but not okay for a woman to do this? And if you have kids, teach your kiddos how to create intimacy, um, how to have emotional intelligence. Having vulnerability with them is super important, because if we are to heal, like we need to steer away from the shame, but more of while addressing like harmful behaviors. So let's have these conversations.
Hmm. Long conversations like I have with
Yes.
Mia.
Long
Yes,
conversations, yeah, with Mia.
definitely. Yeah, there's it's important to talk about anything, and then nothing is to be ashamed about, you know. And I think is whatever you
Mhm.
don't talk about is whatever you actually struggle with the most, you know. That's
Yes.
literally how it goes. Whatever you don't talk about, because you're only dealing or coping with it, dealing with it, understanding it from your own perspective, so that, you know, looking for another perspective, looking for someone you can talk to, even if it's just fucking information too. Just have the courage to do that, you know, to talk about it, to look for it, and to look for
Yes.
information about it. That can be helpful as well.
Yes. 100%. That's all I got. That is infidelity within our Latino community through the attachment lens. Remember, it's not just about the betrayal, but just the deeper pain, the wounds that we have. So start addressing them. Steve and I are available to you if you need anything. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist who specializes in couples therapy, inner child wounds. Um, Steve is a what are we going with, coach?
I don't
Life
fucking know.
coach?
I'm here to help you. I don't, whatever you want to call me. I don't fucking know. I don't have a
Steve
title
will
for it.
be
I
your
wouldn't.
companion in your healing journey.
Hmm.
Gracias, everybody, for joining us today. Please subscribe, like, review, leave us a comment, give us feedback. If you have anything, you can find us at mindfulpodcastliving@gmail.com, on Instagram, en el TikToki. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. At our house too. Just let me know if you're coming up. Don't just show up. I'll still entertain the conversation though. All right. Bye. Why is this frozen?